move on to another, again, not sort of prepared, scripted dialogue, but very, very important. And we're talking about Tina Peters. We'll go to General Holt, and we'll come through the panel. As everyone knows, she's a political prisoner. Juan has really done incredible work raising that narrative across this country, motivating the American people to get their voices heard on the matter. I'm not an expert in this. I know that a lot of measures through the legal and court systems over this last year or so have been exhausted. But a lot of people are asking me through texts and public timelines, free Tina Peters now. They're asking me, especially on the headline today, Trump pardoned 70 people. Why isn't Tina on the list? I'm sure there's a reason. Some folks are being a little bit more aggressive. We may chuckle on this, but you must understand the sentiment of the frustration of all of us out here. A lot of folks are also they're just saying, just send the boys in there and take care of business and get the woman free. That's a bit aggressive, and I understand that. But we are under a wartime command structure, and I'm swimming here in uncharted waters. So I'll take it away, General Holt, please. Any commentary on Tina Peters and how can we get her out of there?
Yeah, John, I'm right there with you. And, this is an area where I have serious concerns about the Justice Department and its leadership right now. Todd Blanche even said, we're going to get her transferred to a federal facility, and maybe that would start the process. But to be very clear, every day Tina Peters spends in prison is a day that the enemy says we're still doing well. It encourages them. Every day that we don't see a trophy buck with arrest warrants out for them, or that the J6 matter hasn't been solved, we find ourselves on the back foot. I don't know why that is. I can tell you that I have serious concerns about a few members of President Trump's team, and Tina Peters is emblematic of my concerns. We can wish those away. We can justify those things. We can say, oh, there's got to be a reason out of loyalty to the administration. I'm loyal to America and my oath of office to the Constitution. Tina Peters is not the one who should be in jail. And quite the opposite is true. The Secretary of State for Colorado should be in jail. And that these people still do not fear the law. They don't fear prosecution. They don't fear anything. They after the last election day, they certainly don't fear the ballot box. I get we're on a big strategic run towards the real evil in this world. But if tactically we don't take care of our own, well, as a general officer and a guy who's actually committed people to harm's way, that's a foul. And Tina Peters, she's not a young woman. She can't be in captivity forever, and I think that this is emblematic of the fact that our outcome in this war is not assured. And what I would encourage President Trump to do if I had his ear this night is I think you should really review who is on your staff and what changes need to be made right now.
Important point there. He certainly was heavily infiltrated the first go around. 45, let's say. Thank you, sir. Same question, Lieutenant Colonel Matt Meck.
John, I get the good fortune. I'll get calls from prison from Tina Peters. We'll call once in a while. I get to talk to Peter Tickton, her lead attorney, Bannon a lot. Got to meet and talk with Ed Martin. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because I don't know if the audience knows, she's recently taken a turn for worse health-wise. She's deteriorating. She's a cancer survivor. 1/3 of her right lung has been removed to lung cancer. And one of her attorneys, John Case, visited her a couple of days ago. They filed motions in court to have her released immediately on bond because of the health issues she's going through. And her words to folks when she was going through initially serious health issues, and no one could find, this is years ago, no one could find out what was going on. Well, she had cancer, lung cancer, and she's feeling the same way again. And I know recently we're seeing the reports in Denver media that the Department of Corrections of Colorado confirms that DOJ is engaged with them on her custody, transferring custody of her to the federal system. But I would say this again, and Pete would get this as a commander of a squadron. General Holt would get this as a general officer commanding not just squadrons but wings and groups and so forth. Is why the hell is the staff not following the commander's intent? The commander's intent has been said over and over. She's a political prisoner. Get her out. I want her out now. And I tell you, if you go back and ask General Holt and Captain Pete, when you have people working for you who don't quite get it, you have one conversation with them to kind of get that attitude adjustment. If they're still blowing you off, you shit can their ass, John.
Yes. Well, that needs to take place. Great point, Matt. We'll go around the panel. Captain Pete, sir, would you like to weigh in on this? It's
absolutely.
It's a real
John,
serious
thank
issue.
you. It is a very serious issue. It is time to free Tina. It's time to get real. When you are building a team to try to take this country forward and to try to take it out of where we've been, which has not been in the best place, you want people who are going to stand up and do what is right and willing to face consequences. But then you got to defend them. You got to stand with them. And when you're in a position to do so, you stand by them until you see it through to the end. And we've seen many cases. Tina's one very notable example, and we pray for her health and pray for her freedom. I mean, time for a Paul and Silas moment, frankly, freed from jail. But get her out. And so many others, J6, people in the military who refused the COVID vaccine and stood up and have not been treated well in the process. They suffered, persecution for standing up and doing what's right. And it is time that the president and his true trusted advisors, the real ones, because we know there's some not good actors around it, but the real ones need to stand up and say, we're going to build this team to take this country forward.
Great points. And you're right. J6, all those patriots, political prisoners unjustly served, COVID, as you mentioned, and Tina Peters. Juan SAVIN, Juan, you've done an amazing effort in raising this awareness throughout the new media world, and I'm hoping it helps in some way. How would you like to weigh in on this? And is there any update you can provide from perhaps the last few days? Has anything moved on this?
Well, they did move up in their schedule at the prison system, getting her seen and getting her lungs imaged from next week until today. So she's treated a little more urgently. I guess they got about 9,000 calls over at the prison system. There were calls to the governor, calls to President Trump, calls to the Justice Department. But at the end of the day, we still don't have a diagnosis. And then even then, I don't know if I trust it. Tina needs to be able to go out and get her own look-see and get out of the stress of the situation that she's in. President Trump said 3 times, get her out, let her go, get her out now. And the people, we had an understanding coming up on her birthday and on her birthday that she was going to be out. It's a done deal. We've got it all figured out. She was told, you're going to be out. We're getting you out on your birthday. Hang tight. Then, little problem. Don't sweat it. Hold on. Hang tight. It might be a few more days. We're working it through. Then after a week and a half, all of a sudden it's, let's everybody take a breath. We do have this big important court hearing that's coming up on habeas corpus, and the judge is kind of favorable to us, and it's an urgent situation, and he'll understand. Let's not do anything wild until we get to that hearing. We get to the hearing, it should be done a couple of days, maybe a week. These things tend to go fast. It's been 3 weeks. We're coming up on the 4th week now. Nothing has happened. Hope deferred. Everybody here in this audience knows when you thought you had it handled, everything was going to be taken care of. It's a desperate moment, and you're still hanging, and days go by, weeks go by, months go by. She should never have gone to trial, let alone through a trial, let alone the sentencing. We had lots of people that put in white papers, understandings where the president, as he came into office, could act, and we expected action. Look, we voted for this president in office, supported him, pushed him hard, okay, to get him through. Tina is iconic. She's a national hero. She stood in the gap when others didn't even know there was a gap to stand in on election integrity. Many of the people that are about to get exposed in the vote corruption, vote fraud, all of the intricacies, whether you're talking Epstein Island, WikiLeaks, and 100 other critical stories, they're not going to be tried in the justice system. Ultimately, they're going to be tried in a tribunal system, Nuremberg type trials, because they stole the election 2020 and other elections before and after, not just in America but around the world, using chemical weapons, literally the jab and everything associated, and the government shutdown and the societal shutdown, the shopping, the masks, everything, the jab itself was all intended to control the population through the vote process and hijack control of the helm of the ship of state. These pirates stole the helm at the ships of state of multiple countries. Tina Peters, in a peripheral county in Colorado, when 50 some odd other counties, nobody does anything. Maybe one other person in the county decides, gosh, they're talking about cleaning up these machines, doing a trusted build. That doesn't sound right. Somebody from an agency being managed through government offices tells you to trust them. Your antennas go up a little bit. She gets the word from other people, and sure enough, she doesn't trust them, decides to go ahead and do her job, and now she's the one in prison. This is completely over the top. But even worse, now that we have our guy in office, he's got people advising him. Trump himself, in his office, has looked to attorneys representing him, doing work for the country, has turned to him in the Oval Office in front of others that we know personally and said, I have horrible attorneys. These guys don't know shit. What in the world? Who are these guys? I need some attorneys with some balls that understand things, that'll give me the right advice, show me how it can be done. Right now, this second, the answer, I believe, is to just melt the phone lines down to the White House. Go on every kind of social media you have. I don't care about Venezuela. I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about the fact that Obama's getting $2.5 million a year for using his name in Obamacare. I don't care about any of that. It will all be a Pyrrhic victory if we win everything and people go to Gitmo and people go on trial and we have all of the word of everything, the horrors that they did. If Tina Peters isn't here to savor in the victory, to thank personally for what she did when others didn't, it will be a Pyrrhic victory having her in a Viking funeral and all the flames and we thank you and casting her off to sea. And she's not here because we were a day late. We didn't understand. The bad guys got to win that round. We'll win some other one, but over her dead body, we'll all wave our camera lights at the stadium and thank Tina for everything she did. I don't want that. I just want Tina. I love Tina. I love what she did. She's emblematic of the rest of us. She is us. If you can't save Tina, Just one last thing, John. Let me just throw this in there for folks.
Mhm.
There was a movie, The Jackal. It was the second version with Bruce Willis. The whole entire movie hangs on one 30-second scene. And it's the scene after a gunfight when one of the detectives, a Russian agent, was shot mortally. She's still alive. And he comes over to her. The other agent's dead in the corners. And he takes her hand, places it over a shot in her liver, and says, "Gosh, that's a bad one." It looks to me like you have about 20 minutes to live if you keep pressure on it right here, so you don't bleed out too soon. But if the pain gets too great, just let go. You'll be done in less than a minute. But if you do survive long enough until Declan, who's the lead agent on this, who used to know this guy, if you do live long enough, tell Declan you can't protect your women. In this situation, it's that kind of a scene. If you can't protect Tina, you can't protect the rest of us. In that situation, everybody thought he was going for the president. He was actually going for the first lady. It would have more impact on everyone, psychological, etc. If they're able to take out Tina, it will have more impact on us, the home team, than anything else that they can do. They want Tina, and they want her dead in the system, a scarecrow to anybody else who'd ever step forward, because they can't do anything to save your life. That's
And
unacceptable.
John, if I
Understood.
could real quickly, 202-456-1111 or 202-456-1414. That's the White House.
Melt
Thank
the
you,
phone
Matt.
lines down. Don't let it stop. We trended yesterday on X with Tina Peters, but it's fell off. There's other things that have kind of creeped in. No. Till Tina's out, it shouldn't be easing up. It should be doubling down, please. Please, Mr. President, act quickly. Own this. Be decisive. Don't let some judge, some pissant governor, anybody else have it. Take control, own it, pick a lane, be decisive, end this drama, this misery for Tina. Don't let her be sacrificed on the altar of bureaucracy, our side or theirs. Please.
Thank you, Juan. And you spoke earlier about the president 3 times, and I saw the public posts really saying there's going to be consequences. It was I'm paraphrasing. If Tina isn't released immediately, unlike his predecessors, he doesn't keep moving the line forward with a threat and then never delivering. I'm hopeful that the president, and the other takeaway for me, starting with General Holt all the way through, is the rats aboard the ship. That may be the obstacle that the president needs to hit the eject button and just take care of business. Let's hope and pray the right
It
thing
makes
happens.
the president it makes the president look impotent in this kind of a situation. It makes it look like he can't protect the weakest among us, the most vulnerable, and the ones who stood out in the fight and were the most heroic. If we can't fill in the gaps and step in to back them up, it doesn't let the next one feel very confident when it's their turn to step to the front of the fight. She's iconic. We must step forward. The president has to lead. He has to own this. Be decisive. Get it done. Just figure it out. If you got people in there that aren't giving you the right advice, kick them in the ass, kick them off the property, and get somebody else in there who can figure it out. Get it done. Figure it out. Get on the phone. Don't hang up. Tell everybody stay on the line till we have a plan. Call over to the Justice Department. Call whoever you have to call and get it done. That's what presidents do. Act presidential. Power's only good if you use it. This is one of those moments you step up and you use it to the hilt and make sure everybody feels it when you work this through.